What's up, YouTube? Had something interesting happen the other day. I don't know if I've explained this in any of my videos, but I am a Christian, and so you're not going to hear cussing, or I'm not going to discuss the latest, Hot 100 list or anything like that. Other day at church, we had a couple of gentlemen from Africa who were they're in the United States doing, they're both pastors in what is the country? Now I feel like a doof. Well, I'm failing to remember the country at the moment, but they're from Africa. One of them had been here. I'm not going to use names because I don't know if that would be okay or not. So anyway, they're visiting us, and it's a great service. We do start off with music, and the music goes great. You can just feel there is a presence of, what I'm going to say, God. It's not something I just feel or I believe. It is what it is. Like, the presence of God was in that building on Sunday night. And it was powerful. It really was. So, we get through all the music, and our musicians actually stay up there while the choir gets off stage when we're done actually doing, like, the singing. They stay up there, and they'll play some, quiet music while the pastor's doing what kind of introduction thing, I don't know, whatever's going on is going on. And this night the music's really going, and people are kneeling at the altar and they're praying, and God's dealing with people. That's what He's doing. He just, I don't know what everybody's going through. Maybe they're having a difficult time in their life, or maybe He's just encouraging them, and they're just overwhelmed with a thankfulness that they're healthy and that they're blessed with a job, which, some people aren't nowadays. You know what I mean? So, God's just dealing with people. And, one of these pastors, they're both at the altar and they're praying. And then one of them takes his shoes off and puts them all on the altar and walks away. And I saw this, and I was just, I didn't know what was going on. I thought that it was kind of one of those things where, it's holy ground, like Moses, where he takes off his sandals at where the burning bush is and whatnot. I thought it was something like that, but he left them. He left his shoes. Okay, that's a little different. Not weird, but I've never just left my shoes. I've always taken them off before, but I've always put them back on. So I thought I was, whatever. But I didn't really think about it. And then the other day, our pastor was talking to some of us about it, and he said, he talked to this pastor afterwards, because he saw, he's observant. And the man said that as he's praying, and he's just so blessed by what's going on in this service, God's dealing with him and encouraging him, and he's getting full of strength, and he's just so thankful. I don't know if he didn't expect this kind of, like, worship and presence in America. I don't know I don't know. But whatever, God was fully just embracing this guy. And He wanted to give an offering. And He wanted to give the best that He had. That's how thankful this man was. And he knew the best that he had was not the money in his pocket. The best thing that this man had was a brand new pair of shoes that he bought specifically for this trip. And he left them. The best that this man had was his brand new pair of shoes. And he gives them to God. Leaves them at the altar. Lives like the widow who gave her last, the 2 mites or whatever. This is the best that I have, God. Here, it's not what is God going to do with it. It's about that heart that this man had. I mean, did he bring 2 pairs of shoes? I don't know. I mean, he might be walking around the rest of his time in America with no shoes. I don't know. It just struck me like, what have I given up like that. You know, I heard a story once of a lady at it was a Korean church, and a lot of people probably heard this story before, but you know, the church was struggling. It's a huge church. Like, I think it's got like 1 million people now. I mean, it's humongous. But at the time, this is years ago, and they were struggling. You know, they had, their bills were here, and their finances were here. You know what I mean? If this is the money you need, you know, $1 million, and you have $50,000, probably not going to meet that. So, pastor's struggling, and it's just a horrible time for them. Now, well, horrible's not the right word, but it's a difficult time for the church and the pastor in terms of, I don't know how you say it. I don't want to call it being scared or worried, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what it is. When you know, it's you don't want to ever admit that, like, you don't have a full assurance that God's going to move, but you know, when you're faced with that kind of thing, it changes. I don't know how to put it, because I don't think you ever lose that faith. And, I don't think this man lost that faith, but it was just a weight it was a burden. There you go, it's a burden. And they're doing an offering, and an old lady, brings up a rice bowl. A rice bowl, nothing. I mean, it's not fancy. There's nothing painted on it. It's a rice bowl. But it's all she had. Like that. I mean, obviously she had clothes and stuff like that. And maybe only what she had on. But in terms of, like, outside possessions, she had a rice bowl. It's what she ate out of. That was, you know. And she gives that. And you know, I don't know who noticed first or whatever, but the thing went on that, you know, they ended up pulling the rice bowl out and said something about this lady just gave her only thing that she had. She gave her rice bowl. That's what, you know. So somebody stood up and said, I'll pay blank and blank amount of money for that. And another person stood up and, you know, they'll buy it for such and such. And, you know, so it went on like this where people just, and they ended up getting like $1 million for this rice bowl. Took care of all their financial issues, and it was, you know, I can only imagine people freaking out and screaming and with joy because somebody gave all that they had, their best thing. Like, how now I'm eating out of my hands because I don't have a bowl. And that bowl that this woman, because of her heart that she gave, caused their whole situation to turn around. I mean, it's awesome. I wanted to share that. I'm hoping somebody will actually watch this and like it. My face looks so weird. I haven't quite mastered the lighting in my place yet. So, for you video people out there, deal with it. Alright, thank you, YouTube. You guys be good, and, you know, rate it, comment, do whatever you do.